Alright, Joe here, welcome back to We Need to Talk Isolation Edition. Yet again, it's me and the fish today, so get used to it. But of course, this is the show that looks at football on the internet over the past 7 days. 7 days that's seen Ray Parlour invent a new drinking challenge.
It's a little bit different. Cheers, everyone.
Pepe Reina produced this piece of absolute gold. And one young lad learned the hard way why nobody grows up wanting to be a goalkeeper. Anyway, this week we need to talk about football in England. Now, for all you European football fans, I know some of your leagues are starting to make plans to restart, namely the Bundesliga, which have got back into training, I believe, with testing taking place, and Serie A that have set a sort of light date of May the 4th for a potential return. But today, we're focusing on football in England, so if you do want me to do a European-wide version of this, then let me know in the comments below and hit that like button right now. But we're going to start today by rewinding the clock back to March the 13th, of course, the date that the Premier League and all elite football in England was suspended. When they suspended football, the Premier League put a soft return date of about April the 4th in place. EFL put one of April the 3rd. Now, obviously, neither of these were very likely and, unsurprisingly, haven't happened, and football has been suspended indefinitely ever since. For all you boffins at home, I do know there are FA rules that say the season must be finished by June the 1st, but let's not forget the FA have indefinitely extended that for the 2019-20 campaign. But this extension is putting massive pressure on football teams, in particular EFL sides who, quite frankly, are just struggling to survive right now.
There's not one single club, and this is pretty crucial, not one single club in League One or League Two that believes they will have the financial capability as we stand to get through the next 3 months. And then you're left with a scenario where those clubs have got no option but to seek administration.
In fact, it's got so bad that several senior officials at League One and League Two level have informed the EFL that if something isn't done about ending this season early, then they are going to go bust. The measures they're believed to be asking for is the cancellation of the 2019-20 season, with many at League One, League Two level feeling that there'll be no fans at all inside stadiums until 2021. One League One chairman said there is a nightmare about to happen in English football if people don't start making decisions really quickly. I mean, just give Fleetwood Town's owner Andy Pilley a listen here.
My big worry here is that we may have double figures of football clubs who go to the wall, famous football clubs who no longer exist, who no longer deliver the quality of life and the pride to their community that they have done for perhaps 100 years or more.
The main issue for a lot of clubs right now are player contracts, and it's actually understood that approximately 1,400 professional footballers in the English Football League are due to become free agents on June the 30th, which means they would be able to sign and be free to sign for other clubs. But there are no other clubs really to sign for right now because everybody is in the same boat. This would of course mean thousands of unemployed people, which is never good news. Give Gary Neville a listen here when he was talking to Sky Sports.
In 3 weeks' time, when the lockdown's over, you are 6 weeks away from those contracts ending for 1,400 players in this country. Admittedly, there is another month of notice for those players, but the walls are closing in, like Jamie said. And they've got off on the back foot. I don't think they've communicated well throughout this process, to be honest with you. I don't believe they've brought us on the journey with them. We don't know where they're at. I actually get the feeling that, to be fair, that they're stuck.
The Football League have now started communicating, and it's EFL chief Rick Parry who's done so. He's written an open letter to supporters to inform them that matches are likely to be played behind closed doors when the season can resume. However, they will all be broadcast free to air online. But are the Premier League planning the same thing? Well, the Times reported on Thursday that at least half of the Premier League clubs will push for the season to be completely finished by July the 1st, which is no time at all. In the article, they say there has in the past been a collective desire from all of the clubs to complete the season. However, now chief executives are starting to fear those player contracts running down at June the 30th. One Premier League insider told The Times, "We are in danger of entering chaos territory." Some people at home might be aware that FIFA did introduce measures that allow clubs to extend contracts for those players whose deals are expiring on June the 30th. But legal experts have effectively said that's impossible to enforce under English employment law without the player's consent, so they could leave on June the 30th for nothing. And there are some pretty big names. There are 57 players in the Premier League right now whose contracts are up on June the 30th. They include Jan Vertonghen, Willian, Pedro, Giroud, Ryan Fraser, David Silva, Matty Longstaff. Now, because of this player contract situation, the Times also report there is actually some confidence amongst chief executives that if they needed to, and it went to a vote, they would get the 14 club majority needed to push it over the line, meaning that the season could well be ended by July the 1st. Now at this stage, if the ultimatum did happen and the season was to end on July the 1st, there'd been no discussions about how the final table would look, meaning that the Champions League places, Europa League places, relegation are all up in the air. In fact, despite one Premier League owner saying, sadly, the season could still be abandoned depending on government rules, at the big meeting that happened with the Premier League today, the June the 1st ultimatum was not raised at all by any of the 20 representatives on the video call. Instead, the Premier League confirmed after the meeting that they are still focused on finishing the 1920 season by any means necessary. So this one looks like it's going to roll and roll, but I want you guys at home to keep your eyes on that June the 30th, July the 1st date, because it's going to be absolutely crucial in any decision making. Moving on to the good, the bad and the ugly. As you know, I'm not covering bad and ugly news stories on this segment during the coronavirus, only good news stories. And the first this week is about Chelsea. That's because they have this week begun providing 13,000 meals every 7 days to NHS staff who can't get home and get themselves a good meal. Brilliant gesture from the Blues. PSG have also followed suit. They're doing 25,000 meals, delivering them to the Parc des Princes for any health worker or charity worker that needs it during this period. And West Brom have turned the Hawthorns, their stadium, into a maternity clinic for pregnant women during the crisis. All free. Well done. So that's it for this week's episode of We Need to Talk. If you did enjoy it, we do this show every single day over on Snapchat. The link to that is in the description below. Tomorrow we've got extra time. We've got Sunday isolation vibes coming out on Sunday, so tune in for that. Thanks very much for watching. I'll catch you later.